That was just a practice. So, okay, here it goes. The real thing. Good morning. And welcome to the Vashon Island Unitarian Universalist. My name is Rick Maroya, and I will be... I could, I don't have to. I can talk, I whisper. Okay, here we go. And I will be your service leader. Maybe the mic works. Oh, the mic works. Should I use this?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay. This is new. I haven't done this one. So I will be your service leader today. If you are visiting, please participate as you feel comfortable. You're invited to stay and introduce yourself following the service during social hour. Our congregation is committed to individual freedom of belief, welcomes diversity, seeks to promote a sense of community, and fosters faith, which enriches the spirit. We are a mostly lay-led community, strengthened, enriched by weaving together the volunteer contributions of members and friends. Our community is supported and guided by our minister, Reverend Victoria Poling. As we begin our service, please take a couple of breaths. Become present. Relax. Bring your attention into the moment of communal reflection and sharing. We acknowledge that we live on the traditional homelands of the Swabash Coast Salish Native people. The Puyallup people have lived here and stewarded these lands before the settlers, and continue to do so today. We recognize that the land acknowledgement is one small step towards the allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of many indigenous people of this land. As Unitarian Universalists, we honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish Earth and all its belongings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect. With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in this great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships. I would like to invite Leslie Mouton, oh, there she is, to light the chalice.
Let us light our chalices together, in person and online, with these words, A Chalice of Joy by Reverend Dr. Julia Corbett Haymeyer. We light this chalice in celebration of joy, the flickering flame of a candle, a flame that shimmers, that dances, that cheers, the flame that heartens and encourages us in hard times, the welcoming flame of this community.
I'm Reverend Victoria. I use she, her pronouns. I identify as a white and Hispanic, queer Pacific Northwesterner. Today I have my favorite Star Wars mug with me. And I'm wearing a stole with a blue heron and sunset colors. Our opening words are by Margaret Renkl. We are creatures built for joy. At the very saddest funerals, we can hear a funny story about our lost beloved, and God help us, we laugh. We can stagger out of an appointment where a person in a white coat has given us the news we think we cannot bear. And still, we smile at the baby in the checkout line as she claps her chubby hands at the balloons by the cash register. You know the ones. This is who we are, the very best of who we are. The world is burning and there's no time to put down the water buckets. And for just an hour, we put down the water buckets anyway. Take your cue from the birds who have no faith in the future, but who build the future nevertheless, leaf by leaf and straw by straw, shaping them and turning them into a sheltering roundness perfectly fitted to the contours of the future they are making. Turn your face up to the sky and listen. The world is shivering with possibility. The world is reminding us that this is what the world does best. New life, rebirth, the greenness that arises out of ashes. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, which is in the gray hymnal. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears, every song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Open, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Our first reading today is by best-selling author, editor, activist, and ritual singer, songwriter, Adrienne Maree Brown. True pleasure, joy, happiness, and satisfaction has been the force that helps us move beyond the constant struggle, that helps us to live and generate futures beyond the dystopic present, futures worthy of our miraculous lives. Pleasure, embodied connected pleasure, is one of the ways we know when we are free, that we are always free, that we will always have the power to co-create the world. Pleasure helps us move through the times that are unfair, through grief and loneliness, through the terror of genocide, or days when the demands are just overwhelming. Pleasure heals the places where our hearts and spirits get wounded. Pleasure reminds us that even in the dark, we are alive. It must become an incredible pleasure to be able to be honest, expect to be whole, and to know that we are in a community that will hold us accountable and change with us.
Our second reading is by Austin Channing Brown, who is an American writer and public speaker, and the author of I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness, which became a New York Times bestseller following the murder of George Floyd and the subsequent protests. She writes, "The poet Toy Derricott revolutionized Black feminism with one line in a poem. Joy is an act of resistance." With that one line, she gave Black women an opportunity to rethink the work of racial justice. Finally, we were given permission not to just be mules for the work of racial justice, carrying a kicking and screaming country into a better future. We were given permission to also see our joy as giving a middle finger to white supremacy. And when we stop to think about this one beautiful sentence, it unlocks a world of truthfulness. Because historically, America has been completely uninterested in the joyfulness, the happiness of Black women, and has actively worked to villainize our joy, our dancing, our hair, our laughter, our desire for luxury and access and opportunity, our sexuality, our dress and jewelry, our jokes and conversation, our songs. Our joy is suspicious, and what right have we to joy when we have so much work to do? Miss Derricott, with the wonder that only poetry can unearth, gives an answer. We aren't just pursuing racial justice when we're organizing or voting or protesting or speech making or volunteering or working. We are also pursuing justice when we indulge in joy. This was my entrance into joy, and I am so grateful for Ms. Derricott for opening the door through the lens of resistance so that I don't work myself to death, believing that that is the only way to speak truth to power. Her words gave me permission to indulge, and now I want more. Not only as a part of the resistance, but because I am human and my human dignity demands that I too experience unadulterated joy. The words of Austin Channing Brown.
I was telling people before the service that I used up my best joy song last week. And they said, do it again! Which I'm happy to do, written by Andrew Calhoun, who I was married to, and now is one of my best friends. I've got a lot to say about that, but I won't. But his mother's name was Joy, and also my mom in a way for quite a while. I miss her very much, and so it's kind of, there's so much in this for me. Andrew once made, can you all hear me? Yeah. I'm like Ethel Merman. He once made a card for his mother. It was 2 photos of himself and then a picture of himself with her. All 3 of them next to each other. And it said, Andrew Calhoun beside himself with joy. So do sing along, it's easy to pick up on. Welcome, too low again, how did that happen? Welcome, I won't keep you long. Drink a glass and sing a song. What comes with a hug and a kiss that fills your heart and sounds like this? Joy, 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 joy. Joy, joy, joy. house of love, glory in the sun above. I hear the whisper of delight, come to find you in the night. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. Life's a rich and a muddled mess. We squander, cherish, curse, and bless. Though it passes much the same, echoing my mother's name. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. When the way is overgrown, when you're weary to the bone, lift your eyes up to the skies. From your heart you will feel it rise. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. Welcome, I won't keep you long. Drink a glass and sing a song. What comes with a hug and a kiss? It fills your heart and it sounds like this. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. Joy, 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 joy. Joy.
Thank you, Kat, for that song of joy. As you've gathered by now, our theme for this month and today is joy. And today I'm specifically speaking to joy as described by a lineage of Black women. And this is because for me, as a white and Hispanic woman, I have a lot to learn from perspectives other than mine. In 2011, poet Toy Darracott wrote one line in a poem: "Joy is an act of resistance." And as author Austin Channing Brown reflects on in her personal story, Darracott revolutionized Black feminism. And both Adrienne Maree Brown's work on pleasure activism and Toy Darracott's poem reference a Black feminist lineage that includes another important and vital philosopher, self-described Black lesbian, feminist, socialist, mother, warrior, and poet Audre Lorde. And Audre Lorde's 1978 essay, Uses of the Erotic as Power, reclaims the root of that word, erotic, from the Greek word eros, as the personification of love in all its aspects. And I think this understanding is important to us as Unitarian Universalists who put love at the center of our shared values, that the personification of love in all its aspects affirms joy and pleasure in the senses. When we embody this love, we affirm satisfaction, we affirm happiness. And as Adrienne Maree Brown notes, this joy is one of the ways that we know when we are free, that we are always free, and that we always have the power to co-create the world. Audre Lorde describes the co-creative power of joy in this way: for once we begin to feel deeply all the aspects of our lives, we begin to demand from ourselves and from our life pursuits that they feel in accordance with that joy which we know ourselves to be capable of. For me, in my life experience, I have often demanded of my pursuits in life that they feel in accordance with the joy that I know myself to be capable of. And this joy was nurtured amidst race and class privilege, and shaped by my own experiences of adversity as well. Moving constantly in my childhood, saying goodbye to friends and communities. I attended 8 different schools, K through 12. And my family, like many of you, also experienced the losses of culture and cultural history and language, and the intentional work of assimilation, of becoming white as a US citizen. What these experiences demanded of me is resilience and creativity, to meet the moment and co-create it with the people who were around me, because my joy has depended on it. My joy has depended on learning to participate in and to support and deepen communities where joy can flourish and loneliness can be eased. That's why I'm a minister. Our joy here as a community depends on our ability to know and to use our power to co-create our world, in which the visions and dreams of Black women, thinkers and writers and creatives deeply inform the world that we dream of. As Lorde famously wrote, "The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house." And as we watch a small group of oligarchs dismantle the US government, remember, this is not dismantling the systems of oppression that continue to aggregate wealth and power in the hands of a few. So right now, I am witnessing your distress, the distress of many folks who are middle-class, white European Americans, for whom government systems have been experienced as reliable and stable and supportive. These systems have sometimes somewhat supported me as well, as a Hispanic and white, cisgendered, middle-class woman. And I feel that too, that these systems are being tested and shaken and dismantled. Your response, as I've been hearing it, includes some shock and some anguish of displacement, a confusion that doesn't make sense, a longing for influence, and a range of stuckness to reactivity to constructive response. And I say this not to minimize anyone's pain or activities. It's real, and you're responding from what you know, and I am too. And I say this just to give some context, because for many people, the government has never been reliable. Systems have often not made sense. And this is the context for some of the powerful writings in Black feminism. In the face of a system that does not support you, does not support your family, does not support your survival, let alone your joy, cultivating joy really is an act of resistance. So right now, I am seeking out these practices for what spiritual resilience can look like collectively as more of us are having this experience. So how do we together guide and support and tend to the souls of one another when the systems around us are untrustworthy, unkind, or unjust? So this question, to respond to this is why I'm revisiting the visions of Black women, queer Black women, and queer and non-binary and male Black people from different class backgrounds, to remember and to dream what a better world would look like, and to imagine futures that I can't see through my own lens of experience. As I consider where to look for wisdom on leading church community, I've been looking to the work of Black theologian Barbara Holmes and the iconic author Toni Morrison. Barbara Holmes is a spiritual teacher, activist, and scholar focused on African American spirituality, mysticism, cosmology, and culture. She's a president emerita of the United Theological Seminary in the Twin Cities. Her credentials and experience and leadership run deep and wide. Her book, called Joy Unspeakable, focuses on the contemplative traditions in the Black church, the meditative, quiet work of creating inner sanctuary in community. And Toni Morrison, as I'm sure you know, is one of the most celebrated authors in the world. Her novels have earned her many prizes, including the Pulitzer and a Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama. And a Nobel Prize, thank you. When she was 12 years old, she converted to Catholicism and was baptized under the name Anthony after Saint Anthony of Padua. She later went by the nickname Toni after the saint, which you may not have known. So both Holmes and Morrison's scholarship and teachings and works of art show how Americans who have faced worse conditions than white middle-class people face now developed practices of joy that give life while opposing dictators, opposing slavers, opposing systems that deny people's humanity. And these ancestors persisted not by going alone, and their descendants are persisting by drawing on one another for strength and courage and community, and cultivating this joy together as an act of resistance. As a white person, the images I have often seen of Black churches are of joy, of people singing and shouting and stomping, arms lifted up in praise, while wearing fabulous hats and shoes. These images felt strong and powerful to me, while at the same time surrendering to a greater power. And in my white imagination, I imagined these gatherings to be full of dignity and grace. And I was given an opportunity to check my imagination and assumptions when I was attending seminary. With my class on multicultural ministry, I was invited to attend a Sunday service at the Ebenezer African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church on Capitol Hill in Seattle. And I did experience some customs that I expected. Some people did have really good shoe game. And the choir wore royal blue robes and hands were lifted up in praise. And I felt an energy of renewal. And the pastor preached a very firm message against those who would misuse their power and leadership, using the image of a shepherd, asking, "How can you trust a shepherd who doesn't like sheep?" I did feel that sense of people coming together to depend on one another, to be lifted up by one another. And then there was the tenderness. The pastor started his sermon by singing in a soft, low voice, echoing the anthem we just heard by the choir. There was a hum, there was a moan, a tender response to this uplift. I didn't expect to witness the mix of grief and joy as gentle, hurting people allowed tears to roll down their faces while singing words of praise. It was rare that I had witnessed people who are Black feeling safe enough to cry in public, even in seminary, even with my classmates. I was moved. And I felt very grateful that my group was so warmly welcomed and invited to lunch, which was lavish and utterly different from a monthly UU Sunday potluck that I had ever attended. We were served from the kitchen, and portions were generous. And I was reminded that for some folks living on the financial margin, this might be the one big meal they would have at the end of the week. And I remembered that in UU congregations, that is where the tradition of fourth Sunday potlucks has also come from. The end of the month when paychecks run out, or Social Security or disability payments run out. Some of us here too welcome a delicious home-cooked meal. Reflecting later theologically on the tenderness of the experience that I had at Ebenezer AMEZ, I found my way to the work of Barbara Holmes, who is a contemplative. She seeks out the quiet, the calm, the still, the deep elements of spiritual practice within that Black church tradition and beyond. She lifts up a way of worship and spiritual practice that is not the shout or the praise. And in her work, she points to the moan, to the sitting down, to the wailing and crying together, to the lament. How this practice can just begin with humming to yourself and deepening into the moan, dropping deeper into your body, into the senses of your experience, and with the God or the Spirit of your understanding. One of the literary characters I think is best known for this way of practice is from Toni Morrison's novel Beloved, Baby Suggs. Baby Suggs' spiritual practice is to sit down and rock. She hums and moans and goes deep into her body to soothe the deep hurts by the world. And she goes within and she works her way into a peace with the God that she knows in herself. And she cultivates this inner sanctuary this place where she knows herself beloved, beloved of God, and this is her protection of her heart, her psyche, and her spirit. And when baby Suggs emerges from this inward place, renewed to face her day and people, she is able to offer her big heart. Her character offers a vision for us now of what is possible when we each cultivate that place of inner sanctuary, so that we might each bring our big hearts to one another. I'd like to close by reading an excerpt from Beloved, from this vision that Toni Morrison created of Baby Suggs' ministry and the healing heart of the community that gathers. And as you listen, I invite you to remember that the healing heart of community is here too. And that here, where many of us have racial privileges, we are called to make joy not our only act of resistance, because we also have a responsibility to participate in healing the world as we share our joys and sorrows with one another. So here's the vision of Beloved Community by Toni Morrison. When warm weather came, Baby Suggs, holy, followed by every black man, woman, and child who could make it through, took her great heart to the clearing, a wide open place cut deep in the woods, nobody knew for what, at the end of the path known only to deer and whoever cleared the land in the first place. In the heat of every Saturday afternoon, she sat in the clearing while the people waited among the trees. After situating herself on a huge, flat-sided rock, Baby Suggs bowed her head and prayed silently. The company watched her from the trees. They knew she was ready when she put her stick down, and then she shouted, "Let the children come!" And they ran from the trees toward her. "Let your mothers hear you laugh," she told them, and the woods rang. The adults looked on and could not help smiling. Then, "Let the grown men come," she shouted. They stepped out one by one from amid the ringing trees. "Let your wives and the children see you dance," she told them. And ground life shuddered under their feet. Finally, she called the women to her. "Cry," she told them. "For the living and the dead, just cry." And without covering their eyes, the women let loose. It started that way, laughing children, dancing men, crying women. And then it got mixed up. Women stopped crying and danced. Men sat down and cried. Children danced. Women laughed. Children cried until, exhausted and riven, all and each lay about the clearing, damp and gasping for breath. In the silence that followed, Baby Suggs, holy, offered up to them her great big heart. She did not tell them to clean up their lives or go and sin no more. She did not tell them they were the blessed of the earth, its inheriting meek or glory-bound pure. She told them that the only grace they could have was the grace that they could imagine. That if they could not see it, they would not have it. Here, she said, in this here place, we flesh. Flesh that weeps, laughs, that dances on bare feet in grass. Love it. Love it hard. May we here dance, even if dancing means sitting in a chair and boogieing. May we weep, may we laugh, may we love our bodies and ourselves and love them hard so that we may love others beyond this circle of community, so that we may keep on loving this beautiful and wounded world. May it be so. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing This Little Light of Mine. What number is it, Kat?
118.
118.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,
and beyond this community. And then please join us in singing There Is a Love.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in His love. There is a love holding all. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in His love.
We get to resume recording now. As members and friends of the Vashon Island Unitarian Universalist, we commit to supporting our congregation. Financial resources help us to pay for speakers and staff, support our social justice programs, and maintain our buildings. Please support VIUU with your pledges and offerings so that we may continue to be a vital community. Our congregation engages beyond our walls for peace, social, and economic justices, freedom of belief, and protection of our earthly home. Once a month, we present an offering to a regional, national, or international organization that aligns with our values. And I think this week's offering is for VIUU. So as the basket is being passed around, please join in singing We Give Thanks.
We give thanks for this precious day, all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. All gathered here and those far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
And for folks who are new, let's remember to keep announcing the words are in the front of your hymnal to those two songs that everybody knows. They're right there. So our closing words for today are by Robin Wall Kimmerer, a beloved Indigenous author. Even a wounded world is feeding us. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of wonder and joy. I choose joy over despair, not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift. I'd like to invite Leslie Mouton to come forward and extinguish our chalice.
We extinguish our chalices with this poem by poet Ross Gay. If you find yourself hearing again the earth's great sonorous moan that says, all you love will turn to dust, do not raise your small voice against it. Instead, curl your toes into the grass. Walk through the garden's dormant splendor. Say only Thank you.
Yes, I will have to remember that the words are printed on the inside of the gray hymnal. Thank you, Reverend Victoria Poling, Kat Eggleston. Runa, oh, it's not Runa, it's Catherine Sullivan. And the setup team for participating in today's service here at Lewis Hall, and for all of you that have joined us. So, refreshments do follow this service, and after we do our announcements. So if you do have an announcement to share that's related to VIUU activity, please come up and form a line, right or left, middle, as you please.
Hi. For you who don't know me, my name is Cynthia. I don't usually identify myself because I think so many friends here know who I am. I'm speaking for Julie because last week she invited a lot of us to come to her house next Saturday. I don't know what it's going to happen. I have been to very few parties, but I hear she's a great entertainment person, and I hope she comes back and everything's okay with her family. So it's next Saturday, and it's down on Tahlequah side and by the Christensen. We can walk around the pond, and I can't wait to do that. So what time? That I can't figure out. Probably all afternoon, though. Knowing her, she's a good entertainer. Well, it's a potluck. See you all. Thank you so much. I got here on time almost.
So a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I'm going to lead a grief retreat here, May 16th and 17th. So I made some little flyer thingies I'll put on the snack table so you can take one home if you're interested. Thanks.
Hi, Kirk again. It occurred to me this morning, I'm your treasurer and an honored member of the Finance Committee, and another member, Melvin Mackey, longtime member, has announced that he's stepping down in membership on that committee. So, committee now is composed of myself, Pamela, Gary Preston is the chair, and then was Melvin. So if you're interested in numbers, in policies and procedures, and we get together at the most once every other week, and in the summertime usually monthly. It doesn't require a lot of time investment, but yeah, it's very worthy. It's a way for someone or a group of people to provide service work for the church. That's it.
Hello, I'm Marilee Runyon, and I'm honored to say that the collection next Sunday, our Easter collection, will benefit the Food Access Partnership. And that is a group, it's part of the Vashon Island Growers Association. And what we do is raise the funds to make farm bucks. And this is a local currency that we distribute through island social service agencies. They're also distributed at the library and the farmers market. And they're like cash that enable all islanders, regardless of income, to shop and purchase the highly nutritious locally grown food here on the island. And the other benefit of it is this adds to the bottom line of our local farmers. And I can't say how thrilled I am that the food bank raised so much money Friday night. This is a dire time for people experiencing food access. So I encourage you to open your generous heart for the Food Access Partnership. There will be a little bit of information in this week's bulletin, and if you have questions, I brought some little handouts, and just get me during the refreshment time. I'd love to talk about it. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Catherine. 4 quick announcements. If you want to be involved with the social justice group, we're having a meeting this Tuesday at 4 o'clock on Zoom. Just use the Sunday Zoom link. If you're interested in the group that works on the Sunday services, we meet on Thursday at 11 here at Lewis Hall. Next Friday, looks like good weather. We're going to have a Lewis Hall work party. So if you want to come beautify the outside of the space, meet us here 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, 10 o'clock. So that's exciting. And then Sunday, we have Reverend Matt Aspen coming back. So wear your Easter bonnets and come prepared to learn about reawakening. So that's it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Earl again. In 2 weeks' time, our speaker is going to be Steve Bergman with Zero Waste Vashon. And to that end, there's this little project that our Rotary Club is doing. Matter of fact, it's a project that every Rotary Club in the entire world has an epic day of service scheduled for May 17th. And Steve Bergman has coordinated with King County to get all the waste off our beaches removed by King County Services for nothing. All we have to do is gather it up, but it'll take lots of hands to do so. So if you want to live out our core beliefs, this is an opportunity to do it. I'll put this back on the bulletin board. The 2 places to pick up will be at Docton Park and at Jensen Point. It's on here. But the point is that we're trying to clean up the beaches. That's the Rotary Club's big project. And Steve is in 2 weeks is going to be our featured speaker. He'll have more details on it when he comes. But this is just informational for everybody who wants to put their beliefs in action. Yeah, there'll be other places to pick up, but the concentration of where you bring it to so that King County comes and picks it up are Docton Park and Jensen Point. So they'll pick it up from those points and take it off island at no charge.
I'm Beth, and I wanted to remind you all that today is the second class of the Starting Point class that Reverend Victoria will be leading, and it starts at 11:30. This service is ending earlier than the first class, and so I think we'll have time. But I would ask you, if you're still engaged in wonderful conversation at 11:20, just go out in the sunshine and talk. Food will be brought for the potluck that they're a part of in their class, or their snacks, which is different than what is there now. So anyway, grab food that you want, and about 11:20, just go out in the sunshine and talk so that they can have their class. Anyway, thank you for that.
Hey. I just want to say thank you to the people who came and painted, and I really do have the downstairs set up for painting, so if anybody is interested, they can talk to me, and I have painting projects that I'm wanting to do as well that are a little different, but this is, and then And then this is my sweatshirt and my hands off.
I'm Kate, and at least once a year, we have a new member welcome, and we will be doing that this year, the 4th of May, 11th of May, excuse me, the 11th of May, the next time that Reverend Victoria is with us. And there is a notice in the newsletter this week about what do we mean by membership, what do we expect of you. So I encourage you to look at that if you're considering joining us. And anybody who would like to become a member of VIUU on this particular occasion, there will be others, of course, should talk to me or talk to Reverend Victoria. And we will tell you all about it. And if you want to, we will include you in our ceremony on the 11th, where Sylvia has volunteered to provide a special gift for new members.
Come for the gift.
Hi, I'm Sheila, and last week I went to, on Thursdays, Indivisible is sponsoring, has arranged, or whatever, I'm not sure the word, at the Havarat, 12 to 1, to listen to the National Indivisible talk, which we can all do at home on our own Zoom system at home. However, what was nice about this is all the people who were, I got there a little late, so I don't know exactly how it's organized, but all the people who were there, and there were 8 or 10 other people, were all writing postcards at the same time. So that was a very effective use of time. And just thought you all might like to know. It's at the Havarat, 12 to 1, every Thursday.
I'm Kim, and I appreciate y'all being here. And many of you have asked about the status of my lambs. I do have 9 now, and you are welcome to come see them in the afternoons. But if you text me and I don't respond, it's because I'm with the lambs. So it's not that I'm not responsive. I do have one who's on a bottle named Valentina, and if anybody wants to come feed a lamb a bottle, that would be just great. So thank you.
So Julie's online, and I'm just going to follow up on the announcement. It's from 1 to 4 o'clock at her house. I got her address. Runa's going to add it to the newsletter, so just read that next Thursday. Bring your own utensils, stuff like that. When you leave, grab a postcard. Remember last weekend, Kim was talking about our postcard. Well, she did it. Good job. So grab one and see where we are financially speaking.
Thank you all for those announcements. And now we get to listen to Kat Eggleston share her musical postlude.
That's a really sweet way to put that, Rick. Thank you. I don't know why this seems right. This is a song by Bob Franke. It's been a while since I played this.